because it has been something of a point of, we'll say a point of discussion within the community. And we'll get into that. Welcome back, everyone, to Random's Thoughts. As you can probably tell, having some webcam difficulties. So we're talking today about the recent notes from the designers, the developers of our beloved game, Phobies. So we're doing this live on stream. I'm going to read the notes here because there was something that was recently put out and has been corrected in a recent patch, and then I want to talk about it a little bit. So as you can see, I have up on screen the official Phobies forums. You could also see this posted, or a link to it at least posted, in the official Phobies Discord. But we'd like to thank those who have taken the time to raise their concerns with regards to the quest system within Phobies. This is a feature that is designed to drive engagement through competitive play over varied lengths of time, depending on the type of quest. It is because of these reasons that the original intention of the quest system was to have it only be completed within ranked matches to generate new tactical approaches to battles as users try to find a way to involve quest completion into their overall victory strategy. Unfortunately, there was an error which led to the ability to complete quests in an unranked game mode. Regarding this, we would like to clarify that the quest progress generated during Frenemy games was not intentional, emphasis mine, and since being brought to our attention, a fix was created. The implementation of the fix, to only allow quests to be completed via ranked modes, was done to align with the original vision of the feature. This change also helps reduce potential exploits of the quest system, and ultimately allowing for the best gaming experience possible within Phobies. With your continued feedback, we can continue to refine quest criteria, as well as identify what quests you are finding the most engaging. Please share your thoughts and feedback via our social media channels. We apologize for the inconvenience this may have caused, and thank you for your patience and understanding. So that's the official statement from the Phobies team. Now, I've mentioned on many occasions, and Chad already heard it multiple times tonight while I was playing other games, other Phobies games, and opening packs and stuff like that. I'm a competitive player at heart, and I've been playing the hell out of Phobies. I really enjoy it, and I'm going to continue to play it independent of this change. This change means mostly nothing to me. However, it means mostly nothing to me personally. So I'm going to pull this off screen momentarily, and we're going to pull up the quest screen, because this will allow us to contextualize what the change is and the potential ramifications of this in a more discernible fashion. So, first off, I imagine, I haven't really checked Discord or the other social media pages, but I know from my own Discord that people don't like this change. And honestly, I can't really fault them. Even though I personally am not being all that impacted by this, truthfully, I just accidentally complete quests. I don't really pay attention to them. Every once in a while, somebody will remind me and I go in and re-roll something, which we did earlier. Like, I re-rolled something to get this Contortio quest, which is probably not going to get completed for forever, if I don't just re-roll it. But we also probably need to re-roll this AWOL one. I think, while I agree with what the team was intending, personally, I don't see a problem with people being able to complete these quests, especially given the nature of the quests. So we don't have win 3 games, win 5 games, play X async games, play Y arena games, it's a lot of, and there are some that are more generic, but we have things like kill 3 Phobies with Contortio. Well, that's a 1-drop. Capture 6 panic points with Eternal Night. Okay, then kill 3-dimensional Phobies with AWOL. That's something that your opponent may not even play those Phobies, and if you assume that ranked mode is by definition and was stated to be a competitive mode, now you're telling people that in order to stay on par, air quotes, you can't see it because, again, my camera's not working, but air quotes, on par with progression, which is another point of contention about Phobies, And bear in mind, I know there's a lot of parentheticals, but bear in mind, I love the game, so I'm criticizing it, in trying to be reasonable about the criticism, and I have some constructed feedback for other opportunities, but we'll get there. If it's supposed to be a competitive mode, you're now incentivizing people to effectively throw games. Because for me to try and complete this very niche and specific quest, it goes beyond challenging. It's actually above and beyond to me, this particular one. Now, other ones will be easier, obviously, whether it's because of my phobia levels or the phobia in question, or just simply the criteria. Personally, I think it's fine if people complete this in Frenemies. I think there's also benefits to having people, even if they just simply are growing their friends list, it's still fostering a sense of community to have people interact in this way, where it's, hey, pop in the Discord channel, this is the quest completion channel. Oh, sign up, get a bunch of friends, people jump on for a couple minutes, and the worst comes to worst, they end up, just shooting the shit and talking about phobies. Like, it's fine. I think that's a great way to have people interact, and at least gives them a basis. I'm not suggesting to add chat to the game, because there's a whole slew of things that come out with that. You don't even necessarily need emotes, although I guess you could do that also as just a cosmetic thing. But this allows people to have either incentivize people out that they're playing the game by themselves and be like, oh, I can't really complete this quest. Well, maybe my friend will pick up Phobies if I tell them, and then we can do quests together. And then they bring their friend on. Or if they're talking in the Discord or on Facebook or on Twitter or insert other social media, they're communicating with other parts of the community, therefore fostering more of an investment, so that you have people talking about the game. I think that is definitely beneficial, as compared to this, where it's taking it away. And while it does get away from the initial vision, I feel like the vision as described, and I'm probably reading too much into it, and we can throw the statement back up on screen so that people can see what I'm talking about. I think it's internally inconsistent that you want these in the competitive mode, but then you're trying to drive other strategies. But realistically, until everybody has every phobia and is maxed out, their strategies are going to be very varied anyway, just due to the limitations of the way the rest of the game's economy works. Now, I mentioned constructive criticism and other suggestions. So I mentioned this offline again in my Discord, which if you want to hang out and talk phobies, you can see in the YouTube description for where this happens. Or if you're in chat, I just saw the bot throw it out there, but you can check for my Discord. But one of the things that I've seen in other games, and probably everybody at this point has heard of the concept, achievements. So what if instead of having these tied to quests, you instead have an external achievement system? What do I mean by that? Well, we'll get rid of this and we'll go back to the UI. So what if under more, maybe it's these three and then it's challenges plus something else, or it's rolled into challenges, and instead of just challenges, it was achievements. And what do I mean by achievements? Well, when you hit, when you kill three-dimensional phobies, you get something for AWOL. When you kill 3 undead phobies with AWOL, you get something else for AWOL. When you kill 3 monster phobies with AWOL, you get something else for AWOL, etc. And then each of these checkpoints, because they do seem to be roughly the same, it's kill X number in general, kill X number of specific thing, capture or recapture points, do X amount of damage, that sort of thing. All of these are very checkboxy things, and yes, with an achievement system they would not be repeatable, but then you replace the quests with a varying amount of win X games in a certain mode, start X games in a certain mode, play so many games in a week, something like that. What's the difference between those two? Well, it does give you a much more predictable and linear path for progression, which I think is part of the reason why we see a lot of the systems in Phobies as they are. And as mentioned earlier, there's a lot of complaints about how the progression and phobia acquisition and other elements of the in-game economy function. I've leveled complaints against it already myself. I'm currently free to play. I do personally plan on putting money in, to be honest, because I enjoy the game so much. And it's like, hey devs, you've earned it. I put in plenty of hours to this game already, and I plan on putting in more. So I think it's worth, here's some cash money. But I think there are other ways to tackle this system and then give people just go play. Because honestly, I personally find this frustrating. Now, I'm coming at it from a competitive player standpoint. While I care about the progression, my focus is on trying to play better and win. And if I'm having to... It's one thing to ask me to modify my gameplay. But as mentioned earlier, I'm already doing that by virtue of my own limited collection. I don't have every phobie. I'm only stress level 22. I am well far away from actually completing the entire collection. And until I do, I'm limited in a lot of strategic scopes. It wasn't that long ago that I unlocked Pterodactyl. And prior to that, I had Murderfly and Gesundheit as my flying phobies. That's not really exactly the armada that I've seen from other players. Now, I do have Rambolina, but I don't have either Fetch or Hevo 2.0 or Heartbreaker or Octonauty or any of the other myriad of displacement phobies. Point is that there are a variety of strategies that are inherently locked away from the player due to the base assumption of a pack system for acquisition. You can't, you could, I guess, dump in a gazillion dollars or whatever it costs. I have no idea what it would cost to get a full collection, let alone an upgraded collection. But if you are buying the full collection, you'll probably get enough stuff, I assume. But you are inherently going to be missing some of these things and therefore having to adapt your playstyle. There are a number of people that hang out in my Discord and in chat, even right now, that have stated on many occasions that, mechanical phobies are a gap in my collection or are a problem that I have because I don't have any electricity-based damage phobies. And you can insert other things. If you don't have a lot of poison, then dimensionals will probably cause problems for you. If you haven't unlocked Clinico, poisons are a problem for you because you can't get rid of it unless there's a healing spot. So suddenly sheeping gas, which is solid on its own, becomes even more of a problem. What does this all mean? Well, the bottom line is that I think that, yes, the quest system does deserve more attention. I think it's perfectly fine that the dev said, hey, this is not what we wanted the game to do. So as a result, we're changing it. That's fine. I've said on many occasions that it's the dev's game, and not just for Phobies, but for any game. They can make the game that they want to make. It's up to the player base to appropriately, and I stress that, appropriately tell them how we feel about it. That's part of why I'm doing this elongated explanation. I think there are other ways to tackle this. Do I think the achievement system is something they can do easily? No. It's probably going to take an enormous amount of back-end work, and I think that's something people need to keep in mind. They have to remember when you tell devs of any game, not just Phobies, but any game, and any project, so this will probably go for other parts of your life too. Look, it always seems simple and easy when you don't know what is involved. Because I promise you, from being on tons of projects, I promise you that if you get into the details of things, they are almost always exponentially more complex than you realize. So saying, why didn't they just do an achievement system? Well, they didn't map it out that way, and once you hit a point of no return in development, they went with this, where they felt it would be better. That's fine. You are allowed to disagree with it, but don't just crap on the devs. Like that doesn't prove anything. Explain why, because this is the other piece. There are many people way smarter than me that have pointed out that people don't always know what they want. Like, you don't like this. And so you're saying, well, I want the opposite because that must be something I like. That doesn't mean you're going to like the opposite or something different either. That's why presenting and articulating what your feelings are on it is important, because the devs who this is their job will may be able to identify a better path forward that people haven't thought of altogether. Now, again, I would love the achievement system. I'm just throwing that out there because I have seen it. But the devs could do anything they want. It could even be a boat. That's the usual meme. It could be anything. I think that, personally, bullet point time, so we can close it up and not make this super long. I think that it should stay in Frenemies if the quests are going to stay this specific. Ideally, the specific ones would move to an achievement system or something else, and then replace the existing quests with something more generic. Yes, it's a little less fun, somewhat, but honestly, I think the idea of, okay, I have this enormous list of achievements, I'm going to go into the game all the time. Like, I think it fosters a different level of excitement, a different kind of excitement to say, I want to try and complete this enormous achievement list. Now, maybe that'll be a problem for Steam or iOS or Android, wherever it has to get deployed. Obviously, will require probably an enormous amount of effort on the back end. But I think that's a better way to tackle it. Make the quests more generic, smooth out the curve for acquisition, and then that way, both on the developer side and on the player side, it's easier to figure out what you're going to do. For me, looking at my current quests right now, and I have them up on screen so you can see them, I don't even know if I'll complete any of these quests, and I might end up re-rolling all of them. Whereas if it was play 10 games, that's a lot. Like, that's a lot. But if it was start, say, 10 async games, well, I can do that, and yes, maybe it'll be way less experience, but you're not asking the person a lot, and then at least it gets them checking back in every single day because they have those 10 async games going. They could just scoop them up, but I don't think most people are going to do that. You're probably going to play through them, and then they'll decide, hey, while I'm here, I played my async games because there were only 3 turns. Maybe I'll jump into Arena. Maybe I feel like, oh, I'm getting my butt kicked in this async game. I feel like buying some packs. You know, realistically, we have to accept that this is intended to be a business. They need to keep the lights on. They need to feed their families, that sort of stuff. It's great and all that they produced a fantastic game, and I'm going to emphasize that again. I really do love it. But we as players have to accept that they're making the game for a reason. Yes, they want to make a good game, but that's not going to pay their electricity bill. They need people to buy packs. They need people to do stuff. So getting them in with this stuff and getting them to continue sitting in client in a fun, positive way, I think is a better option than this. But that's kind of where I kind of land with this. I'm not a huge fan of this particular change, even though it's not really going to impact me all that much. I play Phobies enough that I'm grinding my XP cap usually anyway. This would certainly help, obviously help push me farther up, but it is what it is. But I've gone on long enough. Let me know what you guys think, either down in the comments, hit me up in Discord, on Twitter, whatever. You can see it all below my currently empty camera box, or check out the live Twitch stream over at RTChompGG, also below the camera box, or hit up the YouTube description because it will be there. But like I said, that's going to do it for this time. So as always, everybody, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. And Black Lives Matter.